Glad we took a boat because we've seen those cenotes and we heard some history.
The Yucatan Peninsula in southeastern Mexico has two of the most famous tourist destinations in all of Latin America, boasting delicious food, bustling local streets and hotel zones flooded with five-star resorts on the Mexican Caribbean coast. Cancun and Tulum are rightfully major hotspots for the tourism industry of Mexico.
But there is one problem that is severely affecting the popularity of these areas, and that is
Sargassum.
Ocean currents are bringing increasing levels of this sargassum to the shores all along this coast, resulting in the seawater turning from a dreamy blue haven to a dirty-looking reddish-brown color like this. And it has created unsightly beaches all along this coast. Not to worry though, we have a solution for you.
We are Mark and Asia, and you are watching our Something to Remember YouTube channel. Having travelled all the way through South and Central America on a 6-month-long trip, we now find ourselves in Mexico, a country we have wanted to travel to for so long. It's a big place and we are a bit stuck for time, so we chose to make the most of our time in the Yucatan Peninsula. We flew into Cancun, which is the second biggest airport in Mexico behind Mexico City, and also had our flight booked out of Cancun, so we would be doing some sort of Yucatan circle.
We figured we would spend time in Cancun at the end of our trip instead of the beginning, so we just headed for our first proper destination of the trip, Valladolid. From there, we would be making our way to one of the most special historical landmarks in the world. Valladolid is a pretty colonial city with a pleasant historical center and lots of nice places to eat and drink. We had two main reasons for stopping in Valladolid. The first reason was to visit our first Mexican cenote, Cenote Oxman.
To get there, we rented a moped for 6 hours for just €15 and set off nice and early from Valladolid. If you are used to watching our content, you'll know that we tell you to go to these kind of places as early in the morning as possible. And for this cenote, this advice will be so worth it. So we just got to our first cenote and it's a good start because we're here completely on our own, just as we like it. We're having such a good time here that we're thinking about abandoning our plan to go to 2 or 3 cenotes today because we just can't imagine anything being as good as this. For the first hour we were here completely alone, and now there's just 2 workers that are sweeping up over there. But apart from that, we're just in this cave with birds flying around us and the roots of the trees hanging low. Perfect. This experience was a huge part of the reason why we wanted to come to the Yucatan Peninsula, as it is home to the only cenotes in the world. A cenote is a natural water-filled sinkhole that are created due to the collapse of limestone. They can be hundreds of meters deep. This one is around 45 meters deep and was the perfect spot to have a dip. And of course, some jumping. After a pleasant 15-minute journey on the bike, we arrived at 8 AM just after it opened. The entrance fee was €8. So the company we rented the bike off, not sure what it is, we'll put it on the screen now. They gave us a little coupon or a token to get 2 cocktails, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning, so we're just going to stick to these hibiscus teas instead.
The second reason we visited Valladolid was because it is the best town to access one of the new wonders of the world, the ancient Mayan ruins of Chichen Itza.
Now, we aren't going to lie, we went back and forth about whether we were actually going to visit Chichen Itza. We had already been to 3 Mayan ruins on our travels in Central America, and the price of this place was €32 each. In the end up, we thought, feck it, it's a world wonder, we might regret if we don't go, and to be honest, we think we made the right decision, just about. It is super easy to get from Valladolid to the ruins. All you have to do is to go to the shuttle bus meeting point and pay €4 each for return tickets. Before entering the site, we had to leave our drone, our mic, our GoPro and our gimbal all in a storage locker outside because video equipment isn't allowed into the premises.
But luckily, we were allowed to take in our Canon camera.
Because we definitely wouldn't take any videos with that.
Anyway, we were expecting loads of tourists, and there were quite a few, but it was far from packed, and we quite easily got some nice shots of the temple itself. Built by the Mayans around 1500 years ago, Chichen Itza is one of the oldest and best preserved cities of the ancient world. The large pyramid building is El Castillo. This structure forms a giant stepped pyramid built out of devotion to the god Kukulkan. It features 365 steps, one for each day of the year.
As I said, we are really glad we visited, and it is just about worth the expensive entrance fee. We took the bus from Valladolid, an Orient bus, and now we're in Tizimin, and we're getting a connection bus all the way to Rio Lagartos, which is where we need to be. This turned out to be our favorite place in all of Yucatan, and therefore our favorite place we visited in Mexico. Originally, we made the plan to come here with the intention of seeing crocodiles, as we read it was one of the best places in Mexico to do so. However, when we got there, we realized that there is so much more to this place than we first thought. Firstly, just look at the sunset we were treated to on our first night. We don't have the words to describe this sky, but it really set the scene for an amazing couple of days.
The next morning, it was time for some crocodile adventures. For us, our favorite part about traveling is seeing native wildlife, so we were naturally very excited for this boat tour around the lagoon.
Just a wee word on how much it cost. A lot of the places told us that it would be $400 per person, but this one guy, Manuel Jesus, who will put his contact in here, he gave it to us for $250 each, which is only about €12.50 for a 3-hour tour, so we think it's great value. Well, it's great value now. We'll confirm that it's great value after the tour.
On this tour, we were actually supposed to see some flamingos as well, and I guess we did, but they were all the way at the other side of this pinky orange salt lake, so we didn't really get to see them properly. We did, however, come across this massive crocodile by the banks of the lagoon. Our boat driver had prepared a fish to give to the croc, and seeing this majestic creature swim so close to the boat was just incredible. And we also caught a glimpse of some pelicans, eagles, storks, and other huge birds along the way. On the way back from the adventure, we were given a special spa treatment, but not your traditional spa treatment. This is Baño Maya clay, a natural exfoliant.
To wash it off, we made a quick stop at a beautiful beach on the way back to Rio Lagartos.
How's the skin, Mark?
Yeah, I feel radiant, exfoliated, all those words you hear in L'Oreal adverts. That's me now.
Yeah, it's nice. Very soft.
Overall, we enjoyed this boat tour a lot, even though we didn't really get close enough to the flamingos. We thought it was good value for money. In the evening, you can see dolphins swimming in the lagoon just beside the town, and watching them for a while was a great way to cap off a blissful couple of days here. It was an authentic experience that surpassed our expectations. Be sure to come check it out.
From there, we headed back to Tizimin to take a bus to Tulum. We knew the likelihood of the ugly sargassum being in the water was high, but we still wanted to check out the town of Tulum and take a look at what the beach would be like if we didn't have this seaweed problem. In all honesty, we can definitely understand why this place is so popular, as we loved everything about it. Except, of course, the fact that the beaches look like this.
The beach area is very expensive for accommodation, food and drink, but we stayed in an Airbnb in Tulum town, which cost us just €22 per night, and there you can find food and drink for very reasonable prices. So if you're thinking about going to Tulum but are worried about the reputation it has for being expensive, that's kind of a myth, because it's only the hotel zone with their 5-star resorts and fancy restaurants that the prices are high at. For example, we were eating tacos most days that cost less than €1. To go to the beach for a quick look, we rented a moped, and it's a really easy 10-minute ride along the coast. We didn't stay long though, as to eat lunch there would have cost the price of 3 or 4 meals in Tulum town, so when we got hungry we headed back to the safety of one of our nice cheap taco restaurants. The best tacos we ate were at Taqueria Maya, Ana Rio, Chacha Pastor, and at these taco street vendors. Our expert taco advice would be to always order al pastor, which means pork, as it tends to be the nicest meat. Trust us, we ate about 10,000 tacos each, so we really know what we're talking about.
Anyway, this video is about what to do outside of Tulum and Cancun, so let's get on to our next Yucatan destination.
Welcome to paradise.
This place really is the perfect alternative to the problem at the coast, as the lagoon of 7 colors has crystal blue waters, underwater cenotes, and beaches that you can actually swim at. Our boat tour around the lagoon was well worth the 16 euros each we paid for it. We visited a few submerged cenotes, but Cenote Negro was the most impressive because of how deep it goes. The water dramatically turns black when the boat ventures over the cenote.
You cannot swim here because 3 people died a couple of years ago swimming, so it's been closed ever since.
Not to worry though, as there were 2 opportunities to have a swim in this gorgeous blue water. The tour lasted around 2 hours. It was simple, but we really enjoyed it considering swimming just isn't really an option back up in Tulum. We were almost finished our Mexican adventures, but we had one last bus journey to take to get to our last destination. Cancun, of course. We have some good news.
So after 3 weeks we're back in Cancun, and out of curiosity today we came to the beach, kind of expecting to see the same sargassum we've seen in Tulum, but we've been really pleasantly surprised. All we have here is white sand beaches and pristine blue water, as you can see behind me. And on this map I'll show you where we are now. We're right at the top of the hotel zone, so we're not sure about what it's like further south, but right here at the very top we cannot complain. It's perfect.
Yes, even though the water in Tulum was an eyesore and everyone we spoke to said Cancun would be similar, we love this particular beach. Did we just get lucky? Probably, but we can only judge it on our own experience, and the day we spent here was a dream. We hope you enjoyed watching about the alternative things to do in the Yucatan Peninsula if it happens that you come here when there is sargassum in the sea.
Did you know about the problem with sargassum before you watched this video? And let us know if we missed anywhere in the Yucatan Peninsula or indeed anywhere else in Mexico, because I think we really want to come back to Mexico and explore the West, Mexico City and Oaxaca, so we would love to hear about places we should visit there.
For now though, if you take our advice and head to those places in the Yucatan Peninsula, we are positive you're going to have something to remember, just like us.